do wonder, and I would love to hear about this from your perspective, because you come from rural America. Why do you think liberals are so trusting of institutions? Like, I'm still really trying to understand.
Because they're liberals. They're liberals, so that's their nature, to trust the institution and uphold the status quo. They're not interested in actually abolishing capitalism. They pretend that they want to reform capitalism, but at the end of the day, they're not really looking to implement real change, because they're just as bought and sold as the Republicans. I think liberalism is just a nice, shiny little badge of honor that they wear because it makes them the better of the two evils, and they really pride themselves on that. It's the only way that they can make a distinction from their set of ideals, is that they celebrate Pride Month, and they're therein
lies the rub, because guess what? They're not better. And the reason they're not better is because the sympathy that I have towards conservatives, not deep South conservatives, but rural conservatives, Great Plains conservatives, they come from states where, the church is the center of the community. Education is completely depleted. And they believe what they feel, is within the confines of what they understand. Liberals, on the other hand, tend to be people that come from the suburbs or big cities. They tend to not just be educated, they tend to be overeducated. And they tend to believe that they are always the smartest person in the room. And yet very often they are the most naive person in the room, and sometimes they're the dumbest person in the room. And being so completely out of touch with reality is a very scary thought. And I have members of my family that are like that. And even if I try to explain to them the realities of what's around us, they're very content to just kind of live in that bubble and think that, I'll put the, like that sign that I saw all over different, liberal cities, where they talk about like, we're anti-racist and we're Black Lives Matter and this and that. And it's like, but don't move on our street. And don't break down don't break down our property values. Don't go to our schools. We're just trying to signal to you, we don't actually want to help you if it's going to affect our ability to live at this level of society. Don't even think about trying to even it out. You can't do that.
I think that's where. Was that?
No, go ahead.
There's a little bit of arrogance that you will see in a liberal's repertoire whenever they're discussing politics and inevitably rubbing everybody the wrong way with their limited scope of understanding, but their competence in what they believe is right and true and correct. And that's where I think it's really frustrating to even entertain the idea of giving liberals a little bit more time to learn and broaden their horizons, because they almost seem as though they are content with their limited information, kind of like it's ignorance is bliss type thing. When if they were forced to recognize their own blind spots, then there would be nothing standing in the way of labeling them a bigot instead of a woke, better of two evil type of identity politics lover that gives them the power to pretend like they're a better version of Republicans. And that's really what they want to maintain. They don't want to actually fight for change. They don't want to let go of the power that they hold. I think they recognize their class positioning and that they are elevated a little higher than the rest of the working class and the working poor. And in terms of their decisions that they make when it comes to whether or not they do allow that affordable housing complex to be built, they vote in the same way that a conservative would vote. Not in my backyard. So you're correct in that liberals are much more inclined to support conservative movements that continue to benefit them, pretend like they don't understand what they're doing. And that gives them the feeling that they are better than the Republicans when they're not. And I don't know if that's necessarily lost on them. I think that they choose to be ignorant to their blind spots in many ways, if that makes sense.
I think they know the score. I really do. And the reason I say that is because of the way that the economy has changed in the favor of globalized neoliberalism. So we live in a world today where the tangible qualities of real wealth building, and I'm not talking about wealth building from a private equity firm. I'm talking about wealth building from a small business entrepreneur, a person who learns a trade and is able to do something. It could be, a masonry business. It could be, a plumbing service. It could be anything, but anything that requires you to go to a trade school, which trade school should be tuition free, just like public college, state college should be tuition free. If people want to learn a trade, if they want to learn how to be an electrician, there's a lot of things that we can have in this society that would allow people to have these advantages. The problem with a lot of the liberal society and the way they look at it is the people we're dealing with are not people that are tradespeople. They're people who work in private equity. They're people who work in the insurance and pharma industry.
Yeah, like PMCs, like professional managerial class.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that really is. That doesn't get talked about enough, is the way that the economy has been skewed so heavily towards private equity, towards non-tangible usage in society. This is one of the things that Andrew Yang was absolutely correct about in terms of automation, because day in and day out, you have more and more people that are not being trained in industries where they can be absolutely useful. I mean, California is a great example of a state that should absolutely have high-speed rail running along the Pacific Coast Highway. It frankly can go all the way up to Seattle or Vancouver if you really wanted it to. And Lord knows that would help significantly, economically speaking. But no, why would we have that when that could potentially take away from somebody who is in that liberal class, who invests in the very corporations, whether it is BlackRock or the like, that it's all about the shareholders. It's all about the stock value continuing to go up. I would say if a stock price is going up, it means a worker's getting screwed. And more and more and more. I don't invest in the stock market. And frankly, the people who do invest in the stock market have to know at this point that if you're investing in the stock market and the stock is doing well on a publicly traded corporation, odds are they are subjugating their workforce in a way that you can't even begin to understand.
Or do they want to? Yeah.
They want to turn a blind eye. They don't want to know. They want to know that people who work at Amazon are literally pissing and shitting in their britches because they can't go to the bathroom because they're on a clock. And when they know that. I mean, think about that. I mean, to me, that is as much as anything. The only time I ever get anything from Amazon, if I ever have to, a handful of times out of the year, is if it's the only place I can go to get what I need. That's it.
You're a better man than I am, because I order it far too often than I care to admit. But
if you can shop small and buy local, you do what you can. I don't know what kind of farmers markets and local shops that they even have in LA. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've been there, but it's just tough. It's tough everywhere you look.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.